Hey guys, what's cracking? Godsman here, coming at you with another clan collection reveal discussion. So, this time around, we've got just 2 sets of 3 reveals total. I decided, you know what, let's make a little bit of a shorter one because these are both sets of 3, so 6 cards is probably worthy enough for a video. It'll be a bit of a short one, but hey, you know what? I think it's probably a good way to equalize. The previous one, which was pretty long, although surprisingly kind of getting a little bit more popular. It's a pretty well-performing set analysis video, considering the fact that a lot of them only get a little bit of attraction. Maybe it's because all the goated Narukami mains are out there discussing with me in the comments about like what the new Vowing Saber reverse has in terms of premium and V premium implications. Yeah, seriously, all you guys who went to see that and were chatting down in the comments, you guys are the real ones. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, so moving on to what we got today, we've got some Angel Feather cards that were revealed on the Thursday stream, and they're pretty good. Going over them, we'll start with the new grade 1, which is Electric Beat Angel, except it's electric, I think is pronounced. Kind of an odd one, but then again, we don't really get a lot of normal names in Vanguard these days. So electric has 2 effects. First one being when rode upon, you counterblast 1, take the top card of your deck into the damage zone face up, and then you call the card in your damage zone to RC. Very typical. The second skill is a continuous on rear, and note the continuous skills. They're going to come up later. Continuous, if it's on a circle with a protect marker, protect 2, this unit gets intercept, can't intercept from the back row, and when it intercepts, it gets plus 5k shield until end of battle. God damn, is that a defender. Alright, before we talk about electric, which is pretty good, let's go over the other 2 as per tradition, just so that we can analyze them as a whole. So Ammunition Angel, actually that is a pretty normal name by comparison, has 2 skills as well. The first one being when it's placed on van or on a rear circle with a protect marker, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards and you can put it into the damage zone face up. If you do, then they choose a card from the damage zone and heal it. Okay, simple angel removal. The second effect is a continuous. This is another continuous. If this unit is on a circle with the protect marker, it gets plus 10k power. All right. The final one is, of course, Circular Saw Kyriel. Now, Kyriel, the new grade 3 boss, has 3 effects. The first one is that when it's placed on the van circle, if your circle has a protect marker on it, counterblast 1 and get an imaginary gift protect. Note, you gain a protect marker from riding before this effect triggers, meaning that you don't need to have ridden something beforehand. Just riding Kyriel on your first grade 3 turn will yield you 2 protect markers. The second effect is a continuous on van, which is during your turn, it's going to gain 5k power for each of your protect markers on your circle. So a little bit more of a beefy van. That's cool. Final effect. When this unit attacks auto and van circle, you counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. Choose any number of cards in your damage zone up to the number of your protect markers that are on your RC, and you call them to the rear circle. The units called by this effect do lose their auto abilities, and of course, for each card that you called from the damage zone, you deal this unit 1 damage. Now, looking at these as a whole, there's a couple things to really take into account here. Very obviously, these are Protect 2 oriented. Their whole gimmick is trying to synergize with Protect 2, and that means 2 things. One thing is there's going to be a certain element of recursion and defensiveness to the strategy, trying to maintain a field advantage and using that field advantage to keep you in the game. The second thing this implies very heavily is that these cards can work with Malkuth Malik. Now, I don't think you'll splash Kyriel into Malkuth Malik per se, because Kyriel is pretty distinct, and more often than not, you want to cycle in between your Malkuths, although there could be an argument for Kyriel as a last ride, since she is essentially 5 attacks. I don't know how much you would run her in Malkuth, if at all. However, Ammunition Angel and Beat Angel are 2 different stories. Beat Angel is pretty nice in Malkuth. Malkuth uses the field very liberally when it comes to guarding. That is the style for anyone who knows that deck. This card really helps with that. It's a 15, nay, a 25 minimum shielder when you use this effect, and that's a really strong effect. On top of that, it has a when rode upon skill, which If we're being real, Malkuth doesn't have a lot of good ride targets. You don't care about it necessarily because whatever you ride, in theory, you could Soul Blast out and bring back to the field, but nevertheless, it's nice to have this. And of course, this is essentially a free +1, albeit it's only a free +1 if the thing you counterblasted you would like to call to the field. So if it's something like a trigger, sad days. But it is what it is, right? You could just take the counterblast 1 for the plus, which is sort of the standard for what a counterblast should yield you. It should yield you a +1, at least a +1 in significance, which calling to the field of your choice being the damage zone, that's worthy. All right, but this is really solid. And Ammunition Angel is also really solid. Ammunition is also a good ride target. However, unlike with grade 1s, Malkuth did not lack in grade 2 rides. Holy Lord Angel was a good ride, and of course you'll be running what's her name? Jaffkeel. Jaffkeel is like a staple in basically every Angel Feather build, and Jaffkeel was also a good ride. So this much isn't necessarily going to be that big of a deal, and it's just a removal, which is essentially a countercharge for your opponent, so it's a weak removal, but at least it is a removal. However, this second effect to get 10k continuously, as long as you've got something with a protect marker, makes Ammunition Angel hard to get rid of. You would need to essentially use an effect to get rid of it unless you just want to willy-nilly attack into something that's base 24 at minimum. So that's a pretty good beater. Now, when we look at the second thing, I mentioned the first thing that was like something very noticeable about these reveals, and that was the whole Protect 2 synergy that goes with Malkuth. The second main thing that's really noticeable is sort of the elephant in the room with Kyriel's effect. So Kyriel is sweet in that she's essentially an Altiel. For those of you who knew about that stride in Premium Angel Feathers, Altiel had that basic skill where you're able to CB1 and Soul Blast 1 in order to call cards from your damage zone to the field. This one is a little bit better in the sense that it's a multi-attack enabler, whereas I believe Altiel was a main phase with her skill. The thing is, you can't use their auto abilities, but what you do have access to, though, is their continuous abilities. That's why I mentioned before to keep in mind the continuous abilities, because that's important. If you're going for a Kyriel deck, Ammunition and Electric Beat are pretty freaking good. You'll be running them. However, you'll also run some Malkuth cards. In particular, Amputation Angel will be very, very key. Amputation Angel is sort of like how you push for game with Protect 2 Angel Feathers, which was more just Malkuth Angel Feathers, but now it's just P2 Angel Feathers with Kyriel because they're expanding on that style. Amputation Angel is key because it has that really big Sentinel Restrict, and it is also a card that just gets massive on Protect 2s. So as long as you're able to give crits on it, that's really devastating. Now, you don't have any inherent ways of getting crits, but that's why a part of Kyriel's effect that's really important that goes in the multi-attack is that she's doing rescue checks essentially on herself. Those rescue checks, very much like how Gavriel did it for Hamiel, can yield you crits to go onto your Amputation Angels, and that would essentially become your win con at that point. So with Amputation in mind, Kyriel is actually fairly devastating. It's Malkuth that is weaker in the defensive aspect. It doesn't heal itself, like actually take out a card from the damage that stays taken out. And it doesn't have as much defensive value because even with Electric Beat Angel, you would have to just run other Malkuth cards, which can't really get revived back very easily because Malkuth can revive back its interceptors on top of being able to protect them from being retired by card effects. Kyriel doesn't have any of that, so it's defensively weaker. Offensively, however, it's a little bit different because of the rescue checks, and this is getting a little bit more chonky on top of that. And it also will build you more Protect 2s along the way, so at least your Protect 2 acceleration is to the same degree as a Malkuth combo, which would get you 2 Protect 2s every turn, assuming you rode both Malkuths. That's pretty solid. Overall, I think this is a good direction for Angel Feathers. This is interesting, and this is really inventive. We see elements of the rescue check, but this rescue check is not some crappy G-boot version of Gavriel, which was just busted and bland, right? This is not busted because it prevents auto ability, so you can't do certain Hamiel-esque kind of like win con effects, but you still get extra attacks and you still get to reuse your resources from the damage zone and make some interesting combos that have continuous effects in them. That's really sweet. And on top of that, it is reminding you again that this is a nice mix of offense and defense, and that's the Protect 2 marker. As a matter of fact, I recently was discussing in a server, right, about the worst marker, which was the Protect marker. I wanted to defend the Protect 1, but I found it hard to defend the Protect 2 because the Protect 2 is somewhat fundamentally flawed. It's a Protect marker that has a balance between offense and defense. That is good. However, it's hard to sustain because you need to keep on intercepting, which means losing field resources in order to keep it going. Grand Blue was essentially the only clan that could do it very effectively, aside from something like Malkuth, which could revive its units just like Grand Blue. Kyriel takes it from a little bit of a different angle because you're essentially getting resources from your damage zone to keep it going, in addition to being able to like intercept from your back row, so you're getting a lot of intercepts and a lot of options. So this is a very good implementation of the Protect 2 marker, albeit they had to really go heavy-handed with it, so Protect 2 on its own is probably the worst marker, but when you properly substantiate it like this, it does get to be pretty freaking useful. We'll have to wait and see what to do with Kyriel. There's a fair bit of splashability amongst these angels. I don't know what you would run with them necessarily. Of course, Malkuth is the obvious one, but you know there's always those people who are just like, okay, Zerakiel thumbs up smile. But we'll have to see if Zerakiel thumbs up smile is actually a strategy or not to go with Kyriel. Nevertheless, I really like these reveals. And speaking of which, let's go on to the next set of reveals. See you there. And we're back. Alright, so closing off this quick video, we've got the other set of 3 cards for today, and it's the Nectar cards. Now, just checking out these cards, take a guess. What do we got here, boys? That's right, it's Abroros support, but it's not necessarily direct Abroros support. Instead, we got a brand new ride line, which does function very similar to Abroros. So with the Gladioul ride line, not quite sure how you pronounce it. I'm just going to say that because the A and the I, 2 vowels, are within 1 consonant distance of each other, I'm going to just emphasize the A. So Gladioul. Starting with the grade 1. Eternal Sprout Gladioul Dragon has 2 effects. The first one is an auto. When it's placed on the Van Circle, you look the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 Eternal Peace Gladioul. I'm going to assume it's just Gladioul, and that's a mistranslation. Eternal Peace Gladioul Dragon, reveal it and put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. But if you did not reveal, then you get to call a token that has 10k power, 10k shield, critical 1 with boost and intercepts. Alright. Now, the second effect is auto. When this unit is placed on a rear circle with a plant token of 10k power or greater, this unit gets power plus 5k until end of turn. This especially is going to be something we'll return to. We need to look at the entire ride line to understand this. So the grade 2 Gladioul is Eternal Peace Gladioul Dragon. Peace has the effect, when it's placed on Advanced Circle, you peep top 7 for a Return to Eternity Gladioul Dragon, aka the grade 3. Reveal it and put it in your hand. If you do not reveal a card, then you get to, just like the grade 1, call the token with the increased stats and effects. The second effect is an auto. When it's placed on a rear circle with a token of 10k power or greater, much like the grade 1, this one's going to give plus 15k power. Alright, pretty beefy. Now here comes the big reveal, which is the grade 3, Return to Eternity Gladioul Dragon. 3 effects for this guy. First one being a continuous. The plant tokens you call are called with the aforementioned stats, 10k power, shield, boost, intercept, yada yada. But all of your plant tokens also have the ability to intercept from the back row. That's pretty cool, and also reminiscent of the angel reveals just went through. The second effect is an act on Van once per turn. The cost is putting a normal unit from your drop zone to the bottom of the deck, and in exchange you get to call 2 plant tokens to RC. Yes, that is a +2. The final effect is a Van Circle effect as well, as would be expected of a boss grade 3. When this unit attacks, you counterblast 1, draw a card, choose up to 2 cards from your hand and call them to rear circle with plant tokens on them. Oh, alright. So, what do I think about these cards? I think they're really nice. So, while they're not necessarily bread and they're not like necessarily like bread and butter in terms of like Nectar as a whole, they really return to the roots. Get it? They return to the roots of what Nectar was with the tokens, right? This one is of course the Abroros playstyle, where your tokens have like the bigger stats and the ability to like intercept and boost, and they're just like, you can do anything with your tokens essentially at that point. And this one really maximizes on that. Now, when just examining the value of these cards, They're really well done in a couple aspects. For one thing, this is of course a ride line, but I do appreciate that this ride line took a different direction from what we kind of see from other ride lines. A lot of the ride lines, at least the design ethos of ride lines in V, have been grade 1 when placed on Van Circle. You peep 7 to add either grade 2 or grade 3. You just check out Scout of Darkness Vortimer, Kelpie Rider Nikki, yada yada. This one took it a different route. Instead, we're going more of a pure old-fashioned ride line route, where the 1 peeps for the 2 and the 2 peeps for the 3. This does mean that in a sense, it is weaker in terms of being able to find its search target. But I would argue it's actually a little bit stronger than what we see a lot of those ride lines, because with the examples of Nikki and Vortimer and whatnot, if you whiffed, you whiffed. There is no benefit to it. With the Gladioul grade 1 and grade 2, you're able to get good tokens for that, so you +1 regardless. And these +1s, especially on the grade 1 and grade 2 turns, their stats are relevant and can swing. That's great. That is very well designed. I like that very much. That means that when you ride these, you're getting stonks no matter what. Now, when looking at the grade 3 has also got like sort of the complete package. It's not bombastic or anything, but I think it does the job very well. It gives you a good amount of card advantage. As a matter of fact, as mentioned before, this is straight up a +2. That's really good. And you're able to maximize on your pluses by being able to multi-tack for 5 attacks total. At least. I'm not sure if you can get more multi-tack afterwards, but you could get more multi-tack afterwards in some, maybe in premium or something. I don't know. I'm not very fluent when it comes to Neo Nectar. This third effect has a fair bit of implications, right? Because at first glance, it's just like, oh yeah, yada, rear, van, rear, swing. Like that's never been done before, right? Morgan, Sharon. So what makes this kind of cool though is you're using like sort of the plant token gimmick to maximize on your resources. You're getting a draw for that counterblast in addition to 2 multi-attack, but think about some of the things you can combo those with. You can combo with one of the other reveals that we got, not from this set, but from the previous set, which was Master Wisteria. Master Wisteria is cool for getting you more plussing on top of that. That way you can keep on winning sort of an attrition battle in addition to your multi-attacks. That's really nice. I also would like to mention again that you get pretty beefy attacks when you call the Gladioul grade 1, or especially the Gladioul grade 2, because the Gladioul grade 2 then is a 25k attacker at minimum. That's pretty solid. It's not going to be some sort of meta-defining or meta-breaking kind of thing, clearly, but this is a really good step up, and it plays really well, not just with Wisteria, but it plays really well with the Abroros ride line. Because here's something to mention. Branch, okay. Timber, also a decent ride, but Timber also is just like a free plant token, which would produce a stronger plant token thanks to a Gladioul effect. The grade 3 Abroros though, interesting little niche about it. Its main effect is a van or rear. So now you have a very van-centric, something dedicated to being a Vanguard for the buffed up playstyle. The buffed up playstyle being like beefy plant tokens. Maybe we'll just call them Abroros tokens. I don't know. Speaking of which, we've got reprinted tokens, I believe. It's not pictured there, but we got reprinted tokens that look pretty nice. So they're nice, cute little 10k tokens. Overall, I like these reveals. I think these reveals are very nice. There's like a lot of genuine effort, I think, being put into this. They're not breaking the game, but they feel very correct. There is sincere design, and I appreciate it. All right, well, that's going to do it for today. Between Angels and Neo Nectar, which one are you guys more excited for? I think they're both pretty much equivalent when it comes to being like well-rounded, good designed, and fairly exciting cards. Neither of them really represented very popular aspects, right? You know, Kyriel, I don't think a lot of people are asking for her. I don't think a lot of people are asking for this ride line, but they're both very neat, and they both really have good callback to particular mechanics that are a little bit left behind. The Protect 2 Angels mechanic and the Abroros token mechanic, quote unquote. So yeah, good job here, Bushy. I like this one. This was a quick little video today, but I think, you know, we went over some good stuff, and generally speaking, this is a pretty pleasant time around. And there's a lot of stuff coming up, a lot more Paladin cards still remaining. We've still got the Aqua Force cards, we've still got the Link Joker cards. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. I wonder, What are we most looking forward to down in the comment section below? Let me know about that. And if you would like to see more Vanguard content like this, do subscribe down below and check out some of my other videos. And with that, take care. God bless.